Greetings and welcome to Caring for Seniors. I am your host, Adrienne Houghton. Each week, I sit down with Dave Stieglitz, President of Oasis Senior Advisors Jacksonville, and we welcome guests to the studio to discuss all aspects of senior living, in housing, through to healthcare, and everything in between. Stay tuned as we'll be right back after these messages.
We are local. We are your local experts in senior housing. We have taken the time to personally set foot in just about every licensed senior community in Northeast Florida. And not just, be there, but also pay attention to, is the same staff there or are they having turnover? Are the residents smiling? Are they happy? Are they interacting with the staff? And what is the culture? What is the personality? There's a lot of intangibles that we pick up on and remember when it's time to match a client with the right community. The intangibles are as important as the tangibles. And I think that sets us apart in that intimate personal knowledge of the communities in Northeast Florida. Absolutely, and this is an area that many of our veterans don't know about, but is so critical, especially with so many here in town. So for our veterans, the VA will actually help pay for assisted living. The basic requirements are you had to have at least 90 consecutive days of active duty during a declared war period. You didn't have to serve in theater. You could have been in Europe during Vietnam. But you had to have 90 consecutive days of active duty, and one of those had to correspond with a declared war period. That's your service requirement. Then you have to have a medical need for assisted living, and that's as simple as the doctor says you're a fall risk, and he wants you to use a cane or a walker. That alone can get you the medical need. And then the cost of the assisted living has to exceed your gross monthly income. That's not hard to do. And then you can't have more than $127,000 in liquid assets outside of a trust. A house doesn't count, and things that are protected in a trust don't count. So if you meet all those requirements, for a single veteran, the VA will chip in $1,900 a month toward the cost of assisted living. It's a significant benefit. For a married veteran, it's almost $2,300 a month. And the portion that really doesn't know about this benefit, the surviving spouses of our deceased veterans, the VA will chip in almost $1,250 a month for that. It's a difference maker and really can get some people that were in a very difficult situation into a safe one.
Greetings and welcome to another edition of Caring for Seniors. I am your host, Adrienne Houghton. Now, each week I sit down with Dave Stieglitz, who is the president of Oasis Senior Advisors Jacksonville, and we discuss all aspects of senior living. Today's no exception, and I'm delighted to have David here in the studio with me this morning. Good morning.
Good morning, Adrienne.
How are you?
I'm terrific.
Good. I'd like to know more information about Oasis Senior Advisors. Tell me exactly what you do.
So we are a free service, and we help seniors that are struggling at home or just want to do some planning for the future. It doesn't have to be an emergency situation, but to learn about what options are out there for senior housing, for independent living, for assisted living, for memory care, for all aspects of what could be next out there. If you're in your home, and we need to know, maybe the folks around us, we've kind of cocooned ourselves. All of our neighbors that we were friends with have moved or passed on, and now we need just more social interaction. Where can we find that, and how does that look?
I mean, what age is it appropriate to do that? When do you start? I mean, I'm a senior citizen, but I'm not thinking in my head that I'm ready to sort of, be in assisted living or anything like that. So when is it appropriate?
Well, at any time, really. I mean, you've heard the phrase, knowledge is power. How can you know that we ought to be thinking about this if you don't know what this is?
Right.
Okay, so we're all about education. We're all about talking to people, what are CCRC, the continuing care retirement communities that are these great big huge complexes with all kinds of activities and all kinds of housing and all kinds of care opportunities, to simple assisted living communities that are a smaller environment but right for different people. There's such a variety of product out there to talk about, and people, unless they've visited a lot of them to see their friends and neighbors, they really don't know what these things are like.
So you've actually taken the hard work out of it all. You go around, you see these places, you know what's appropriate for different things, and you can guide people once you know what they perhaps may be looking for.
Exactly. I think that's the strength of our core is when you're in sales, you've got to know your product. So our product is all these communities and residential care homes here in Northeast Florida. And our strength is the time that we've spent in each and every one of them, because they're all different. Just like if you go out to eat, every restaurant that you go to has a little different culture, a little different personality. There's some, you might enjoy the food, but you don't like the environment, and vice versa. These communities are just like that too. And what you don't want to do is you're going to go to the one that's right down the street because you drive past it every day. But you go in there and you find out, you wake up in the morning, I don't have anything in common with these people. What am I doing here? So that matchmaking part of what we do, because we know the personality, we know the culture, we know who has stable management. Do you want to go live somewhere that, they're changing managers every 9 months, every 12 months? Because that changes the culture, that instability. Who has the best reputation for care? Who has good food? If you're going to be eating all your meals someplace, you might want to try the food first to make sure that you're going to like that. So there's so many aspects that we've already spent the work and the time and the labor to learn. So I want to find out about you. Who are you, Adrian? And what do you like to do? Are you a card player? Are you a crafter? Are you spiritual? Are you looking for Bible studies and church services? Are you a traveler? Do you want to go, where they'd send, we all get together and go on a bus and go up to Savannah, go to Charleston, go to Tarpon Springs, and things like that. Are you been to music and programs? Because these communities, they have different strengths in different areas. So it's all about learning about you, what your needs are socially, cognitively, also health-wise. What's going on health-wise? What's in your future? There's different licensing levels, and different communities can do different things medically that others can't. And you need to understand that if you've got some certain prognosis, like a Parkinson's or an MS or something like that, that's going to be a progressive disease.
Right.
We want to be somewhere where they're not going to say, okay, we can't care for you anymore, you got to move again. Well, let's avoid that.
Yeah. Oh, so there's so many different aspects. If say, for instance, now I came to you and I said, I'm trying to plan for the future. Is it something that you can almost say, well, I'm going to put a deposit down on this place because it's always busy? Is that something that you can do? Is it like, can you plan for the future like that? And then should situations change, alter it?
Yes, some of them do have extensive wait lists for certain products, like the Fleet Landings of the world, the Vickers Landings of the world. Yes, they've got 4 and 5 year wait lists for their independent housing.
What makes them so special?
They just, their whole environment that they create there. It's very impressive, with not just the housing, but multiple dining venues, multiple social venues, continuing education venues, sports and activity venues. They are small cities in and among themselves, where you're going to go in there, and again, you're surrounding yourself with people that are all kind of looking for the same things. And it's just such an engaging lifestyle. It's very, very desirable. So yeah, people, they're planning. These are the planners of the world. And so this is where I want to go, and it's a process. You go and you see it once, and then they'll invite you back to a social event or a casino night or something. And you go many times and you start to meet the other residents.
Right.
So you say, yeah, these are people that I have things in common with. So they've done their homework and say, okay, I'm going to plop down my $15,000, $20,000 and get on the wait list for the certain product that I want. And when it comes up, we're going. But that's a small minority of what's out there. That's like 5% of the marketplace. But they're very special places. And you want to look at those early, and you want to have that decision made because you're looking at a big wait list.
And it's quite possible that people don't know that. And so you've just highlighted that, just one of the advantages of coming to somebody like you, who can help go through the process of everything that's coming into the future. Right.
Because there are that buy-in, that entry fee community. There's a lot of aspects of that you need to understand before you go into it. It's not like you're buying a house and then, oh gosh, 2 years later, I don't like this. I want to, and I want to sell this and get my money back. No, it doesn't work that way.
Oh.
It does not work that way. This is you're not buying anything. It's an entry fee. You're buying into it. You're buying into prepaid health care because they are contracting with you that they will care for you through end of life, even if you run out of money through no fault of your own. So it's almost like an insurance prepaid health care contract under the eyes of the law. So you don't own that house. They own that house. But you are buying into their system of care. So it's a different structure that you need to be aware of before you go forward with that.
So we've touched on that. What other areas are there out there? Because you know it all.
Sure. So 90% of the market is what you call rental communities.
Right.
And they're structured and protected by law in the state of Florida. There is no long-term lease. By law in the state of Florida, in assisted living with a 30-day notice, you can leave. So, because things change with people. So there is no long-term commitment there, and it is rental. But they range, from small efficiency studios to big, beautiful 2-bedroom, 2-bath apartments. Some with garages and very independent and kitchens. Some more care-oriented and more assisted living oriented. Some with multiple dining venues. Some with single dining venues. Some are 60 beds. Some are 300 beds.
Wow.
So they're all over the place in their style and things. But that's where the majority of our product is, and where the majority of the folks go.
Wonderful. Thank you for explaining that to me. So now I know a little bit more about what Oasis Senior Advisors actually do. And if you'd like to know any more information about Oasis Senior Advisors, you can always find it on iwantabuzz.com.
We are local. We are your local experts in senior housing. We have taken the time to personally set foot in just about every licensed senior community in Northeast Florida. I think that sets us apart in that intimate personal knowledge of the communities in Northeast Florida. If all you need is socialization and you're still fairly independent, then there's 3, 4, 5 of these that really would fit that bill. But you tell me, I've got Parkinson's. I've got a progressive situation that is going to, I have these needs now and it's going to be progressive. I'm going to need more things in the future. Or there's a catheter involved or a feeding tube. All these clinical things will narrow the stage. Some communities can handle feeding tubes, many can't. Some communities can handle catheters, many can't. So tell me what's in your clinical future, and then I'll tell you the best places that have the best reputation for care and the best stability in their nursing staff that I will feel confident putting in a very difficult clinical situation. So tell me your needs and I'll tell you what my favorite is.
Welcome back. Joining us in the studio now is Linda Levin from ElderSource. Welcome, Linda.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me.
So tell us exactly what is ElderSource and what does ElderSource do?
Great. So ElderSource is a nonprofit. We are designated by the state of Florida to be the Area Agency on Aging and Aging and Disability Resource Center for 7 counties in Northeast Florida. But we're part of a large Florida network and a national network of area agencies on aging and aging and disability resource centers.
My goodness. Mm-hmm. So there's so much that can encompass.
Yes. Yes, there is. So as an area agency on aging, we get the state and federal dollars, and we contract with local provider agencies who deliver the services to the older adults in our community, helping them to live and age in their home and in the community with independence and dignity. So services like home delivered meals, which people are very familiar with as Meals on Wheels, but also congregate settings, congregate meals, senior centers, legal services that come into the home to help people live independently, also to support caregivers. And then we make sure that those services are a good quality service, that those most in need get the services, and that those taxpayer dollars are well and appropriately spent, right? And then the Aging and Disability Resource Center is our helpline. So older adults and adults age 18 and older with a disability and caregivers, they call our helpline to find out about resources in the community to help them. They may be resources we fund, or they may be other resources in the community. We help them apply for different programs, help them with their eligibility for those programs. And then there's some other services that we do as well.
So, I mean, we're currently in strange times and have been for the last 18 months. How has ElderSource dealt with the COVID situation?
So you can imagine with older adults, the pandemic had a significant impact on their ability to get out and get access to services and supports that they need. It increased their loneliness and their isolation. And we had to stop performing some services, like at senior centers and meal sites, from happening in person for over a year. So our programs had to pivot to providing services more to their home. We partnered with restaurants, with our providers, so that more meals could be delivered to the home than normally would have been. They would have been at senior centers. Providers did also pivot services to drive-thrus. So seniors would have go to the senior centers where they would normally get their meal and pick it up and bring it home. So things like that we had to do. And we had to increase services that would address the loneliness and the isolation that they were experiencing and the impact that it could have on their mental health. So services were suddenly being provided virtually, and helping seniors and older adults and caregivers use technology to be able to interact and engage. Because just because you're home alone doesn't mean you can't still be engaged, right?
Of course.
So we did a lot of that. We ourselves went remote. So all of our staff have been working from home, including our helpline, which has been fantastic. We can still help people even from our homes.
Talk about the helpline and the different services and things that you help people with by phone.
Sure. So anyone can call our helpline. They can also go to our website and find resources. We have a chat function on our website. They could chat with a live person. But if they call our helpline, they'll get a trained specialist who knows specifically how to work with older adults over the phone. They will assess their needs, find out if they just need information or if they need more services brought in or to access more services. If they do, they will be assessed. They will be put in on the list that gets prioritized for the different programs that are funded. And in the meantime, the staff will also try to find other resources to help them until they get actually into a program.
Okay. Let's talk a little bit about Medicaid and some of the, it's a multifaceted benefit for low-income seniors, everything from the dual enrollment program through the assisted living waiver through the long-term care. I find a lot of clients that I deal with on the low-income spectrum aren't aware of the dual enrollment program, where the Medicaid can step in and pick up their Medicare premium and help them with a supplement policy. Talk a little bit about that's a fairly, in my understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, that it's a fairly automatic, if your income is under $1,300, you qualify that, and that you can get that fairly quickly as opposed to some of the other Medicaid programs.
So in Florida, Medicaid, everything is managed care. And what we deal with is that long-term care piece of assessing people to get supplemental services, support services for themselves and their caregivers in the home. And if they're eligible, if they need to go to assisted living or nursing home care. The eligibility requirements and who's eligible for what and what they need, to get their income, their assets, that's all very personalized and unique to the individual. So honestly, folks need to call the helpline and speak with the staff who have that detailed knowledge. Will know their assessment, will know their frailty, can connect them to the resources that they need, even if it's legal advice.
Yeah, you do have links to services, firms that'll do some legal advice for people.
We do.
Yes,
we do.
That's awesome.
So we contract with 2 legal aid providers in our region. And remember, we cover 7 counties, so we have 2 in our area. But we also have in our resource database other elder law attorneys and resources that people will connect them to for that kind of help. And of course, the SHINE program,
right?
Yes,
which we'll also
let's
do.
talk about, because you have quite a few unique programs, and SHINE is one of them. Tell us what SHINE is.
So SHINE stands for Serving the Health Insurance Needs of Elders. So it is free and unbiased, and it's funded by CMS, the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, It is a national program. In other states, it's called SHIP, but in Florida, it's SHINE because we're the Sunshine State.
Of course.
And they're all volunteers. They're specially trained in Medicare, Medicaid, long-term care. They will help any beneficiary understand their benefits, what they're eligible for. They'll assess what they have that they need, whether you look at their medications, look at their physicians, see what plans cover those, because some will cover some things and others will cover other things. And they'll help the person decide. They won't make any decisions, and they do not sell. They do not market plans.
Totally unbiased.
Totally unbiased.
So nobody's saying, can you really push
No.
this one because it's a good one? No.
None of that.
How fabulous.
They will help them assess, and they'll help the client make their own decision and go through that process. They'll also counsel them throughout the year. So if they're having an issue with a payment, a bill, something they're not sure about, should they have been billed for, they'll counsel them,
wonderful.
they'll educate them, and even advocate on their behalf. And if someone is concerned about possible fraud, there's this Senior Medicare Patrol. They'll look into that, and they'll work with the state to report it if there's a fraud issue. And the SHINE volunteers and the Senior Medicare Program volunteers have been instrumental in shutting down some fraudulent activity over
How
the years.
fabulous.
Yes.
Yes.
That's really good to know. Now, you've got another program, Caring Connections. Tell me what that's all about.
Oh, Caring Connections is a wonderful program. We actually started it just before the pandemic, but became particularly valuable during the pandemic and remains valuable, of course. It's a telephone reassurance program. It's volunteers who make a friendly phone call to an older adult living at home who just needs
To hear a voice.
have a connection to the outside world, right? And they build wonderful, beautiful relationships between them, and the volunteer benefits so much too from making those calls every week. It's very convenient for the volunteer, right? Because so many people work, but they can make a call during lunch, they can make a call at night or on the weekend. It's very easy and it's lovely, and the seniors love it.
Now, you've mentioned volunteers a couple of times. Do you need volunteers, or if you do, what are the eligibility requirements?
So we always need volunteers.
Always.
What nonprofit doesn't?
Yes.
So yes, we can always use telephone reassurance volunteers for the Caring Connections program, because the more volunteers we have, the more seniors and older adults we can call and help mitigate their loneliness, right, that they experience. And so many of them often become volunteers themselves because they can make a phone call too.
Sure.
And they see the value. Also for the SHINE program, always need more volunteers. And again, we cover 7 counties. So the more volunteers we have, the more people we can help understand the Medicare and Medicaid and long-term care benefits and help them get enrolled. And now is a critical time. It's open enrollment. So we won't start any new volunteers during open enrollment, but we'll certainly get them and connect with them after, and then we'll provide all that really great training. So,
Are there other areas that volunteers could get involved with until the new year, perhaps?
sure, so they could definitely help with it. I'm going to talk about telephone reassurance again. They can
Yes.
always help there. But also our service providers who we contract with, who deliver those services I mentioned, they always need volunteers as well.
Wonderful.
So, and we'll connect people. If it's not something they want to volunteer for us we'll connect them to those other opportunities.
And how do people find you?
So there's our phone number.
Of course.
And it's, the local number is 904-391-6699. The toll-free number is 888-24... Oh my goodness, I never call the toll-free number.
That's all right.
446
Is there a website?
There is a website, myeldersource.org. So myeldersource.org. They could go there. There's a way to volunteer there. There's also the chat, live chat.
Perfect.
So they could talk to somebody.
Wonderful. Well, Linda, thank you for coming in and sharing your information on Elder Source.
Well, thank you for having me.
Wonderful
Great program.
information.
Great program.
I
Yes.
appreciate it. Lots of stuff.
And we'll be right back after these messages.
We are local. We are your local experts in senior housing. We have taken the time to personally set foot in just about every licensed senior community in Northeast Florida. And not just, be there, but also pay attention to is the same staff there, or are they having turnover? Are the residents smiling? Are they happy? Are they interacting with the staff? And what is the culture? What is the personality? There's a lot of intangibles that we pick up on and remember when it's time to match a client with the right community. The intangibles are as important as the tangibles. And I think that sets us apart in that intimate personal knowledge of the communities in Northeast Florida. Our clients move for a couple of reasons. Sometimes it's a crisis, something has happened, and a doctor or someone has told them you can't live at home anymore safely. You need to be in assisted living where there are people there to help you. Assisted living, you have a personalized care plan. The basics that everybody gets, you get your room, you get meals in their restaurant, you get weekly housekeeping, you get laundry, you get transportation to medical appointments and social events and shopping. You have the social interaction opportunities, so there's a whole lot of things that are bundled into that. But then on top of that, you have a personalized care plan. If you don't need any other help and you're just there because of socialization, your world has shrunk, maybe you stopped driving and now you're not getting that interaction that you need, that's a great reason to move, because these places are very social and the lifestyle is very engaging and fulfilling. But let's say you need some help with something. So there'll be a personal care plan I'm going to help you shower. I'm going to help you, remind you of your meds. I'm going to help you with different things that you might need on top of your daily activity.
What a fabulous show. I really enjoy speaking to some of those guests and finding out such valuable information for seniors.
It's really amazing, all the things and programs available to folks in our area that many people don't know about. I love bringing it to our community.
Yeah, absolutely. And don't forget, if you'd like to know any more information, you can find it at
oasisjax.com.
Don't forget, tune in next week for more information on caring for seniors.